This is the 287 Coaches Show, brought to you live from 287 Roadhouse in Dumas, Texas. This episode of the 287 Coaches Show is brought to you by these local sponsors.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 287 Coaches Show today. We are not live tonight, as you can tell. We are in the middle of the afternoon, a little bit of a schedule change, but this is episode number 13, if we can believe it. We're still going.
Awesome.
Yeah. Congratulations, Coach, on an awesome game and great win Friday night. That was great.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and so we're just going to jump right in today and let Zane overload us with data.
We've got it. So Friday night, Coach, Fort Stockton, we're playing in our favorite place to go to, Dumas Demon Stadium South, also called Plains Capital Park by everybody else, Lowry Field. And the Dumas Demons get the big victory, 31-6 over Fort Stockton.
Good football game. Anytime at this time of the year, the main goal is just to advance. And so, however that's got to happen, if it's got to happen by 1 point or 20-something points, excited. I knew coming in that Fort Stockton would be a good football team. They were physical. They played us strong all night long, made us really work and earn everything that we got. And again, I was just extremely proud to be advancing and playing another round. Anytime that a coach is always at the start of the season, they set goals for their football team, and I think anybody's goal in the state of Texas, a coach, is to be able to play during Thanksgiving. And so we reached that goal. There's only 16 of us still playing right now. I told our kids that this morning. And there's there's tons of programs and kids and coaches across the state of Texas that would love to be playing right now this week, and a lot of them aren't, but we are. And so we're very fortunate, very thankful, and very blessed to be where we're at right now.
Well, one of the neat things, you've coached 49 games, so game number 50 is going to come this weekend.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I bet you knew that, didn't you?
I did not. I know you did. I did not.
All right. Well, as the game got started, Dumas, we like to win at everything we do. We won the coin toss, deferred to the second half.
We did, and pick to defer. I'm a defensive guy. I like to play defense, and so we came out and played, and didn't exactly. If you read any of the papers and everything, it didn't exactly start off the way we wanted it to, but it's the start, and so that's
sure.
The most important thing.
Well, that's right. And Fort Stockton gets the ball. There was a couple of things on that drive that it's a game of inches. We talk about that all the time. There were a couple plays on that drive that if the inches go the other way, Parker might have scored on
Sure.
like a 70-yard interception return for a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
They are able to get the pass completed. They go down inside the 5, and I think they score like on third
and 3.
Yeah, and so they take the lead 6-0. Extra points no good. From that point on, you guys do what you do, and it's been something that we've done over about the last 6 weeks or so. Go on these long runs, scoring runs, where we just kind of take over. Defense does their job and offense does their job. We scored the last 31 points of the game.
It was, and I don't, we obviously want to start better. That's one of our defensive goals is to, to not allow them to score first possession of each half, and it's important. But at the same time, things are going to happen. I mean, people are going to score, and I think it's real, it's real important that we understand that, and that because if we draw too much attention to that, I mean, and it happens. I mean, our kids are going to think that the sky's falling, and it's not. We've got to go over there and regroup. We got to fix some things. They did some things early, with they motioned a guy out of the backfield, got us misaligned a little bit, and had a big long run. And then you talk about the pass that they had that was almost intercepted.
Sure.
But to get down there and score, we get over there and regroup. And I think that first drive might have been around 75 yards, 70 yards.
75.
And, I mean, that's what they had the rest of the game is around 70 to 75 yards the rest of the game. And a good defensive performance, and then a real gutsy and tough offensive performance as well.
All right, so they score in 4 minutes. You get the ball back, and you score in 4 minutes as well. 4 minutes left on the clock in the first quarter. We get a 23-yard field goal from Victor Morales.
It was, and that was we needed that, because we've got down there in the last 4 or 5 games, and any opportunity that we've had to kick a field goal, we haven't been real successful at that. And so Victor really did a good job. Came in there, we knew he had the ability to do that. He comes in, gets us on the board, and that was huge. Obviously, would have liked to come away with the touchdown there, but anytime you get in the red zone, come away with the points. We felt like we were going to play good enough defense the rest of the night that would be okay for us.
We get another stop, get the ball back just into the second quarter. This time Braden scores from 3 yards out, run the swinging gate, and James scores off 2-point conversion, and we take the lead for good from that point on. Demons are up 11-6.
Again, yes, fired up, taking the lead right there. Again, our swinging gate was successful. And then, you saw us throughout the remainder of the game. We come back in and kick it several different times. We even showed a little bit of motion and different stuff over it, and then called safe and came back and kicked it. I think it's important that you just, everybody has seen us in that all year long.
Sure.
And they're going to get some different looks as well on video as we close out, into this place, into our playoff run.
We get the ball back before the end of the half, and we've done this the last couple of weeks, and I think it's been so big going into halftime. We're able to score 40 seconds left on the clock. This time it was we've seen this play from over the last 3 years, where the running back just becomes wide open in the end zone. Braden Boggs rushing completes a 9-yard pass to James Bednore's. Dumas leads at halftime 17-6.
I agree with you. I think that's really big that we've started to take the momentum in at half. And this one was even better because we had deferred and we're going to get the ball back, and so that gives us an opportunity to score 14 points, and they haven't even touched the football. Mm-hmm. And so I'm really excited about how we've played and ended that the second quarter there and gone in at halftime. It's really given us a lot of momentum. And then we come back out the second half and just continued that.
We get the ball in the third quarter. And I can't remember if it's on the first possession or second possession. We score 6:32 left in the third quarter. This time it was a big play. Braden Boggs rushing and runs it in from 52 yards out. The point after attempt by Victor Morales was good. Demons led 24-6.
Braden just continues, to lead our football team. He's doing a really good job there at quarterback. This wasn't a night that we had a whole lot of passing, but it was he controlled the football, kept it on the ground, had a lot of really big plays there, and that was just a nice scoring drive by him. I don't know how long. I think it was like a 20-30 yard run.
52.
Yeah, even longer. So I think he's going to continue to do that. I mean, he's going to keep defenses. They can't just focus on James. James has really been doing a great job running the football, and now with Zyrell. Well, I thought Zyrell had a really, really good football game, and so there's 3 guys back there that can do it at any time, and it really stresses defenses.
And we do tack on one more touchdown with 7:23 left in the game. This time, pass to the other back out of the backfield guy you just mentioned, Zyrell Merger, catches a 4-yard pass. And the final score 31-6.
Really proud, of our entire team, but I think Zyrell just really had a really good night. He not only did he run really well, did he catch it out of the backfield, but he really had some really big blocks in this game as well, and so did James. James had some big blocks, and just really excited. About how our kids are buying into our offensive philosophy, and nobody really cares whose name's called or what's happening. Really just focused on winning the football game. And again, I think that's why you're seeing our success right now, because we've got a team full of those kids.
It's something that we mentioned before the game. We talked to the Fort Stockton radio guys, and they were kind of and I thought it was so funny. One of the Fort Stockton guys kind of had a question or asked. He said, you look at your team. He said, how do you guys win every week? He said, you guys just go out there and you beat guys. He said, I thought he started talking about last year, because they played Canyon last year, and he said, I didn't think that y'all would beat Canyon. It's like, we just go and we fight. And one of the things that I think that we said to him is we just play well as a team.
Sure. Well, I think a lot of people on the outside talk about that. Now, I'm not sure that unless you're inside of our locker room, unless you're seeing what's going on, you might think that from the outside looking in, but I'm going to tell you from the inside looking out, we don't believe that. Yeah. And I think that's why we're successful, because our kids believe in what they've done, what they're doing. They believe in the effort that they've put in. They believe in their sacrifices that they made. We've got a coaching staff and a locker room full of kids that have invested a lot, and still today that matters. It's not all about how many Division I recruits you have. It's still high school football, and it still boils down to kids buying into a system, and then going out every Friday night and executing that, and that's what our kids are doing. And so when you do that, you have the ability to win no matter where you're at or what your kids look like or what anybody on the outside thinks. And so I believe that's why we're winning.
Yeah, and one of the things that I always think about is you can look at the team that's down there on Friday night, and you could pick a random day in June or July, and you would see that entire team working their tails off on that whatever day you want to pick during the summer.
Without a doubt. It's a year-round plan. Year-round. Our kids are working to compete and be the best at anything they can do. We've got a lot of multi-sport athletes that are just expected to move from season to season and to perform at a high level. We're constantly working in the weight room. That's not something that we do just in the summer. There are teams that are like that, and it's not us. And so I just think with their will to invest and their will to win, that's why it happens for us. It doesn't just happen. There's a lot going on that people do not see, and that's the reason that it's happening.
So this is a second-round playoff game. You outgained Fort Stockton 334 to 157. You mentioned it earlier. So Fort Stockton went on a 75-yard drive to start the game. They finished the rest of the game with 83 yards after that. It was.
I was really proud of our kids, because I knew coming in that Fort Stockton, they did a really good job of they were 9-2. They had really played some good football teams and have done a good job. I thought their quarterback was a really, really good football player. I still do when it's over.
Yeah.
But I thought our guys did a great job of tackling where they needed to be, getting down low, gang tackling, getting a lot of guys to the football. They're on that very first drive. There were a couple of plays, but after that it was eliminated pretty much. And so, I think if we can continue to play defense like that, we'll have an opportunity to continue to advance and play as long as we want to play.
Both teams, as y'all mentioned earlier, want to run the ball. We end up running the ball for 275 yards on 40 carries. We averaged just under 7 yards per carry against who I thought was a tough, stout, big guys that played hard all night. On the defensive side, they rushed the ball 31 times for only 75 yards, so you hold them to 2.4 yards per carry, which I thought was just really, really good.
Sure, and I think it goes back to what we talked about. I think I was asked again what would be the key to victory, and I said, as I do all the time, that we're gonna have to win the game up front on both sides of the football, and I think that shows it. I'm really, really proud of the way our offensive line's playing right now. I think if you step back and you look from week 1 to where we are now, I see growth across the board, but there is some really, really big growth in our offensive line. I think our offensive line is playing with a lot of confidence right now. They're playing big and nasty. And, again, I give credit to, Coach Diffendaffer and Coach Schaefer for the job that they're doing. I think they've done a great job really molding those kids, getting them to play as one, and really, really proud of our offensive line right now.
It's going to sound like a broken record. We talk about this each week, I think. But the ability of your defense to stop teams on 3rd and 4th down, and the ability of your offense to convert on 3rd and 4th down. 3rd down for Dumas, we were 6 of 13, which is almost 50%. You hold Fort Stockton to 4 of 12 on 3rd down, which is 33%.
Very important down in football. And again, we set aside. We have about 10 to 12 goals, that we mark every single year. We talk about as a staff before the season starts, and they change from year to year because I think they have to. Used to a goal board on that, you might have had a yardage on defense, and you might say, hey, we need to hold them under 150 yards. Well, in today's football, that's not realistic. That doesn't happen very often.
Sure.
And so from time to time, you change those goals, but one of our goals is always 3rd down, and that we want to be really good defensively and offensively on 3rd down because it's the key to winning football games. If you can keep drives alive on 3rd down for us offensively, I just think it's a backbreaker for defenses. If you cannot get off the field, and then flip side on our defense, we have got to get off the field on 3rd down. We know how important it is, and we know how if offenses can continue to be successful on 3rd down, they're eventually going to march the field and score. And so it's a very important stat, and it's a very important down in football.
And taking that a step further, we were 2 for 2 on 4th down conversions. They were 0 for 1. So on those, there were 7 drives where we were stopped on 3rd down. 2 of those we ended up converting, so only 5 times where we stopped after a 3rd down, and one of those we ended up kicking a field goal.
Mm-hmm.
So that only led to 4 punts for Dumas on Friday night.
I like that. Anytime that we don't have to punt, that's a good thing. Even though we've been doing a great job with our punt team, and it's been a lot of success for, and it's actually changed some momentum and flipped some football games.
Oh, man.
But again, I think it would be even better if we never punted.
That's right. That means you're scoring.
Yes.
That's good stuff. Well, Braden Boggs rushing, he was 8 of 16 passing for 59 yards, but 2 of those went for touchdowns on Friday night. James Bednore's 18 carries for 99 yards, averaged 5.5 yards per carry. Braden also with 11 carries for 92 yards, 8.4 yards per carry with 2 touchdowns. And Zyrel Murga, 7 carries for 71 yards. He averaged 10.1 yards per carry on Friday night.
That's pretty good. I think we had 3 backs with the quarterback and both tailbacks, and, over 75 yards. And so that's a special night. And what that tells me is that our offensive line is doing what they're supposed to be doing.
They were. Josh Flores, he got a carry for 12 yards also on the night. Jace got a carry for 4 yards, and we got to see Yair just at the end of the game. But he's been a guy that we've talked about. When he's got an opportunity, he's taken advantage of it and looked really good.
He really has, and he's going to be our future. And so I think it's really important that that he stays hooked up and continues to do what he's doing. And any time in a playoff game like this that he can get in and get some carries and some playing time, I think it's very important for us.
For sure. And then Tootie led the team in receptions and yards on Friday night. Had 3 catches for 28 yards. I thought he did a really good job.
He did, and it's. I think that's a big thing about our offense. We don't have a lot of flashy guys. We just got guys that just do their job. We talked a lot. Here we're talking about Tootie and the job that he did catching the football. I remember last week we were talking about Jace Harris's 3 catches.
That's right.
And so we just continue to just, those guys that if you might not have noticed them, but they're the guys that are actually keeping our offense driving and keeping our offense alive, making some really, really big plays for us at big times in the game.
Well, I want to turn it over to the defensive side and the job that the defense was able to do. Dominic Aguilar was he was a big-time player for them out of the backfield. He was their quarterback, but he was the main guy who would carry the ball for them. and do some things, and he was tough to get down. He looked like a bowling ball out there. He was quick, but he was also strong. He carried the ball 17 times, but only ended with 38 yards on the night.
I think that's a huge stat right there because coming in, we knew of his ability. And anybody that I've talked to, I mean, stop 21, stop 21, stop
Sure.
21. And so he's the truth. I mean, the offense runs through him, and we knew it. We knew it was going to be a challenge. We talked to our kids all week long that you're going to have to get a lot of guys to the football. He's big, he's physical. I mean, we had watched him on film, just do a great job. Never did one man bring him down. I mean, he was always, his yards after contact was really big. And so it was really proud of our defense and the way that we limited his success, and I think that shows to only the 6 points that they scored. I don't know. I mean, I didn't go through and look at all of their stats, but I would, if I was betting, I would say that was probably the least points they had scored all year, and probably the least yardage that they had all year as well.
I think you'd be exactly right.
Me too.
So let's look at and talk about some of our defensive guys. Aurelio Madrano stepped up and had a huge game, along with Brian Rangel. Both of those linebackers had really good games. They're the inside linebackers. They combined for 16 tackles on the night, 1 tackle for loss, and also a sack.
And they did, and they're doing a super job. And what a lot of people might not recognize as well, I mean, just our defensive scheme, if those guys are having 16 tackles, the guys that are really doing their job are the guys up front. Our defensive line's doing a really good job of keeping guys off them, being where they need to be so those guys can make plays. I mean, that's a lot of what we do. I mean, we're a gap-sound defense, and the guys up front sometimes have to sacrifice what they're, them being able to make the tackle so they can keep guys off of those guys so they can make tackles. And so anytime our inside backers are free making 16 tackles, the guys up front, our 3D linemen, did a great job all night long doing what they were supposed to do.
And so that's Cannon Speck, Jaden Tovar, and then you kind of rotate in and out Hector Pando and Nono Hernandez.
We do, yes, sir.
Okay. And then, so in saying that, we've also got to talk about the defensive secondary because they had a stellar game. 3 interceptions between these guys, and it's Oliver Ortiz, Parker Dunham, Hunter Coley, and also Emmanuel Banez. Those guys I thought, really also had a great game.
Really good job. And we know, they were really good. That quarterback was really good at throwing the quick game and those type of things. Anytime, that they threw the ball down the field, we knew that we'd have opportunities to go get the football, and we did. That interception by Hunter Coley was...
That was the next thing I was going to talk about.
The one-handed grab.
I want to talk about each one of those interceptions.
Sure.
Hunter Coley's grab with the left hand
one-handed
back.
and that's funny, too, because we've had some opportunities in the last couple of games to make some interceptions, and we haven't.
Yeah.
And so it's always a joke when the coaching staff in the office, we're us defensive, we're always at each other, and a lot of the other defensive coaches were talking about how we needed to work a few more ball drills and things in the secondary so we could catch the ball, and so it was really neat. I mean, he obviously showed that he does have hands and he can catch, because that was a really good catch.
It was his 6th interception on the year, which he leads the team, and I would got to say he's got to be one of the top guys in the area with interceptions. 6 interceptions is a lot for a defensive guy. Really
proud of him. I think he's doing a great job. I think our entire secondary, I really see a lot of growth from week 1 to where we are now. And that's all you can ask for, some kids to just execute and get better and better and better every week, and we're going to. And so we're going to have to. We're going to be challenged this Friday night with a very, very talented receiver core from Wichita Falls Hershey, so we're going to have to be really good Friday night.
Well, let's talk about the bounce back of one of these interceptions. Oliver Ortiz on the first offensive play fumbled a exchange from Braden, was searching frantically for the ball, couldn't find it, and Fort Stockton gets on it. On the very next play, they throw it deep, and Oliver gets an interception, gets the ball right back.
Yes, and I think that just, next play mentality. Mistakes are going to happen in a football game. If you continue to sit there and think about that one and dwell on that mistake, it's going to continue to snowball on you. He didn't have a chance. He turns that over, and fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, he's playing both ways right now, so he's got to get right back out there and figure a way how to keep them out of the end zone, and he did. He made a really good play. He's a receiver, so he just went up and made a play on the ball, and really, really good interception there by him.
Well, the other interception, the other guy that we want to talk about is Parker. And Parker was our player of the game. We felt like that interception came at a crucial time. But not only that, he intercepts the ball and returns it back into Fort Stockton territory, sets us up in great field position. I think we end up scoring on that drive.
That was a really good job, because he was in the middle of the field really there for majority of for his run fits. I thought he did a really good job. They ran a little play action. He spinned off up to the middle of the field. The quarterback wasn't expecting him to be there, and he just stepped in front of it. If he wouldn't have got it, I think Emmanuel was going to pick it as well. So
Emmanuel looked back like that was mine.
Exactly. He did. And so, and then Parker did a good job, returning it. And, I think Parker's also doing a really good job run fitting. I think he's making some big time tackles. And so we're gonna have to continue to, because we've got a big challenge coming Friday night.
We talked about that during the game, how we felt like he's been doing it all season, but definitely against Decatur and against Fort Stockton on Friday night, it just seems like we're seeing Parker almost every single time up there on the line. He's one of the guys coming up off the bottom of the pile, having made the tackle.
He is. He's doing a good job with that, and that's just if they're gonna run the football and they're gonna do those type of things that allow us to, many times the safety's going to be unblocked. He's not in the blocking scheme, and so we've got to do a good job of that. He's good. I'm telling you, the further and further we go, he's going to have to understand that, because there's going to be some play action passes and those type of things that are going to come and really, really stress him. So.
Well, Darryl, you have any other questions from the game on Friday?
I wanted to know how many tackles Sabian Perry had. Do you have that?
Yeah.
Because there's a play that's going to be on the highlight in a minute, which is vintage Sabian Perry. I mean, he plays off the block so well, shows a little bit of speed, and tackles their quarterback. And for the night, you have him for 5 tackles.
2 tackles for loss.
2 tackles for loss. But I just think that goes to show his speed and his strength, because he did play off the block, strung it on out, and made the tackle.
He's a very, very strong kid. Sabian works his tail off, all year long in the weight room. He's very, very strong, because he's really undersized. I mean, Sabian's his muscle definition and everything is really good, but when you really look at him, he's short. He only weighs about 165 pounds, but he plays like he's about 205, and he really does a great job with his leverage and plays off of blocks and makes a lot of plays. And Sabian is a kid that's really just playing really well for us defensively. I'm glad he's on our football team.
Yeah, on the season, he has 62 tackles, 7 for loss, 6 sacks, 3 fumble recoveries, 1 caused fumble, and a pass breakup. Always
around the football, and then he plays H-back for us as well.
Yeah, that's right.
Has had a couple of touchdowns and a lot of big time catches in big games. But I think you could pick any of our kids.
Sure.
We just got kids that are just looking to do their job, looking to see however they can fit. Nobody's complaining. Everybody's just really concerned about we got a bunch of kids that care about others much more than they care about themselves, and I think that's why you're seeing the success of our football team right now.
Yep.
And to mention that, because I know that a few weeks ago there was a game, and I'm not sure who it was against, but Sabian Perry had other duties which were not going to allow him to make a lot of tackles.
Mm-hmm.
But he did what he had to do, and his teammates made the tackle and had big nights.
He did, and that's what I talked a little bit earlier, about our defensive line. I know every one of these kids, they want to make their plays, and they want their name to be called out over the loudspeaker, and they want to see themselves on film, but they also understand that we've got a defensive scheme and a system that they need to fit in, and they're doing a great job of that week in and week out. And we're going to need it more than we've ever needed it, to continue to advance here.
And that's going to be the way it is every week. That's right.
From now on out.
Yeah, as you look, there's nobody, and it's been this way for the whole playoffs. And it seems like this is every year for us. We don't have the luxury of playing a team that's just going to come in and it's like, well, we can have an off game this week and it's going to be okay. It doesn't seem like we ever have that luxury of being able to do that, not in district play and not in the playoffs.
Well, I was actually talking to Press Pass Sports the other day. They asked something along the lines, or since so many people weren't expecting y'all to be exactly
it makes it easier.
Does that make it any easier as you go? And I can't remember since I've been here a game that I've said, guys, we're fixing to blow these guys out. I mean, never. I mean, I think we're going to have to scratch and claw for everything we get, but I think it makes it that much sweeter.
Sure.
I do. I mean, I think it makes it that much sweeter. I think our kids and our community and everything, it just makes it that much sweeter for our football team that we have to grind and work for everything that we get, because that's life. I mean, nothing is going to come easy, and nothing is going to come fair. Everything, you're going to have to scratch and fight for everything you get in life, and I think we are helping our kids in this football program be successful in life with that mentality.
Yep. All right, well, do we want to move on?
I think we need to move on and watch some highlights.
Let's do it. Oh, man.
I want to see after the interception, you'll get to see Hunter Coley get a chest bump from one of his coaches.
Oh, yeah, it's probably me. Here's Oliver, a name that we've been calling on offense. Here he is on the defense side of the football. Again, does a great job. That was after he had just turned the football over. They get it. He comes back, gives it right back to our offense. So that was a big play for him in the game. Kid that I've talked about tonight is Zyron Mark. I thought he did a great job. He's got great vision, bounces out right there, and he's a kid with a lot of speed as well. And so I think the guy making the tackle right there was one of their two-way players that did a really good job. Victor Morales coming in, getting us on the board right there. That's what made it 3-6.
Well, he's a guy that played on JV.
He is a guy that's been moved up and has his opportunity now, and is making all that he can out of it. Tootie, really good play by him there. We talked about him and the catches that he made to really help us. Good job with Braden right there out of the backfield. Just, triple threat. Anytime that we get in that double set, I mean, there's any of those three can carry the football at any time, and I think it really just puts a lot of stress on defenses. Zyrell, again, another big run. A name that we've called a lot, James Bednors. Just a beast. I mean, he's a really, really good football player that seems to just get stronger and stronger and stronger every game.
Yep.
And there's that play that works very well.
It's a really good one, especially when you run the football as much as we do. There's a big play by Braden on the defense side of the football. Just a big-time team leader for us, making plays on both sides of the ball. Cannon Speck, kid that's he's been amazing all year, doing a great job controlling the line of scrimmage, getting back there. Cannon has been just a beast on the D-line all year long for us. Brian Rangel, a guy that's getting his opportunity, getting his chance. 5 games ago, comes in with an injury and has just continued to make plays and be where he's at right now. Big, huge run that we talked about a little earlier, 52-yard run by Braden. Again, just a read game from him out of the backfield. Hunter Coley, here's the big catch that we talked about. I mean, I thought it was just going to go incomplete and out of bounds, but there we go.
Chest bump.
Man, I got up higher than him. That's what I told him in film. I've got more ups than he does. I'm about 260 pounds.
There's Parker's interception. I don't know if you saw Emmanuel Abandias. He was like, "Oh man, that was mine."
He was. I think if it would have went through, he would have made it. Again, the play right to Zyrell out of the backfield. Both of our tailbacks do a really good job catching the ball out of the backfield. Here's Sabian Perry that you talked about. That was big because it was him. Yeah. There was actually a blocker in the quarterback, and then we really didn't have another guys because they false readed us a little bit there. And so Sabian does a great job of just, keeping him in check and getting him out of bounds over there. And that was a really big play.
Wow.
No doubt. That was a good play.
Fun. A lot of fun.
A lot of fun.
Love that place.
I do too.
Well, we've got a big game this weekend.
We do.
With Wichita Falls Hershey, 2:00, and Plainview. Plainview's kind of becoming a second home for us. So we play 6 games at home this season? Is that right?
Yes.
And then we play. This will be the 3rd game in Plainview this season.
I like it. A really good place to play, and a huge game in front of us.
Oh man.
Wichita Falls Hershey is, I think, number 6, number 7 team in the state. Dropped their first 2 games. They're 10-2. Dropped their first 2 games of the season, and have been on a run since. Extremely talented. We saw them 2 years ago in the first round, and so a huge football game. But again, one that we're really excited about as well. And so we'll have our hands full. They're super talented, very talented on both sides of the football. They've got a tailback that's 6'1", 6'2", 200, 205, big physical tailback. And not as just physical. I mean, has breakaway speed. They've got a receiver core that's really active and does a great job. And then they rotate quarterbacks. They've got a freshman quarterback that's very talented. They got another guy that they use as well that does a great job of spreading the ball around, getting it to the receivers. And so, it's going to be a challenge for us on the defense side of the football. They've got a big defensive line that's aggressive and does a great job of reestablishing the line of scrimmage, and then just athletes at linebacker position in the secondary. And so they're aggressive. They're going to blitz and move around, and they're really going to create a lot of challenges for us up front. So.
Well, Coach, when they do come out offensively, what formation do you primarily see them running from?
They're multiple. They'll come out, and their top formation is what we call a ram, a 2x2, one back set. That is their top formation, but they're very multiple. They'll also come out in a flex 2-back set, 2 backs in the backfield, an H or in the gun split. They have a tight end set as well, where they'll come out. They have a 3-back set. And so they're multiple. They don't have they're not going to get 19, 20 different formations. They've got about 6 to 8 of them that they like to stick with, but they are multiple from the different backfield sets and alignments.
Well, as you look at them statistically, are they a team like you that tries to establish the rush, or they just want to find something that's open and then big play somebody?
They do both. I mean, they definitely have a tailback that they believe in, that they can hand the football to, that's been very successful. And then their quarterback does a great job getting the ball out there. They throw a lot of quick game, throw a lot of fast screens, and those different things. And then they've got the ability at any time, because they've got receivers that can run, and they've got a quarterback with a good arm. So at any time they can push you vertical as well, and that's what they're going to do. They're going to do that from time to time, and so they keep you very honest. I mean, you got to be prepared and ready for everything, because they're very multiple of how they attack. And so they're going to be able to throw the ball and run the ball at any time. So we're going to have to be ready for that.
Well, I know they're
athletic,
but they can score quickly. I was reading the Wichita Falls paper over the weekend, and Coach Wiley, the coach of Hershey, was kind of complimenting Clint, and they had made 360 yards rushing on like 60 attempts, which is not bad.
Sure.
And then he said, but we made 420 yards on 23 attempts.
Sure.
So they've got the ability to strike quick and to have some big plays.
They do. I think they can strike anywhere on the field. They just have the ability to do that. They have the speed and athleticism to score at any point of where they're at on the field. So I think that's a key. We've got to eliminate the big play. Because they've got the ability to get behind us, and so we've got to make sure that we do a great job on defense of eliminating that, keeping them in front of us. And again, just like we talked about last week, I think we've got to gang tackle, get a lot of guys to the football, and just play our style of football. I don't think we have to do anything out of the ordinary. I mean, you're going to have to do what's expected of it to win a third-round playoff game, and we're going to have to play well. Mm-hmm. We're going to have to, try to create some turnovers on defense, and then we're going to have to eliminate the big play and play physical demon football.
Well, defensively, are they similar to you with a 3-man front and then 4 linebackers?
They're multiple. They'll get in a 4-man front as well. Sometimes they've got some hybrid defensive ends that stand up in a 2-point stance. They're multiple on defense, get in and out of about 3 or 4 different coverages, and they bring pressure from anywhere you can imagine. And so they're extremely aggressive on the defensive side of football. I think they live by that. They're going to try to create havoc of bringing pressure and blitzes from all different areas on the field. And then they're really talented in the back end. They do a good job of covering ground, covering receivers, and so we're gonna, it'll be a tall task for us. We're gonna have a really, we're gonna have to play really well Friday night in order to advance. But that's how you would expect to happen in the third round.
No doubt about that. And so I'm sure that you're offensively, it's going to be about establishing the rush like you always do. Hershey's been somewhat susceptible to teams that run the ball. So do you see that as kind of as the start of the chess match playing into your hand?
Sure. I mean, I think we're going to have to. I mean, we're going to have to establish a run game for all of our other stuff to take place. You know, we're not a. I mean, you can watch video. We're not a straight drop back team. That's just not who we are. You know, we're going to have to establish a run. We're going to have to, you know, create them to dedicate themselves to stopping it, and then I think as the game goes, other things will open up. But you know, we're going to have to. This is going to be a big game for us up front because they're extremely aggressive on their defensive line. They've got a player number 53 that is just a really, really good football player. Does a great job causing havoc there from the defensive line, and so we're going to have to make sure that we get him blocked in order for our offense to be successful.
So really, we're going to come down to say one of the keys to the game, like maybe all playoff games, is the offensive line and the defensive line.
I do. I mean, yeah. I mean, you can't win a football game without them. I'd like to see you win a game without your offensive defensive line. But no, I mean that's no different. And then I think a little bit different with us defensively is just because of their ability for the big play. I mean, we have got to eliminate the big play. I mean, as you saw, we just talked about earlier them against Clint. I mean, they had 23 offensive snaps and 59 points, and so they didn't drive the field a whole lot. Those were big plays that equal to 59 points. And so we've got to do a great job of eliminating those big plays, making them earn everything that they're going to earn with them on offense and us on defense. And then we do. I mean, it's a big game for our offensive line. Our offensive line is going to have to be able to, you know, to withstand the push of their defensive front. And then have a good job. We're also going to have to be really good with our eyes, being they don't pick up all their blitzes.
I think one of the things that's been big for us has been special teams, and it's been massive for them. I mean, is that an understatement?
Yeah,
I mean,
understatement.
I think that they've won some games because of their special teams.
They have, and that just that goes with their offense and defense. Is they have their speed and athleticism is really good, and the same guy that makes them explosive on the offensive side and the defensive side is also a returner. And so they've returned 5 or 6 kickoffs for touchdowns. They've returned 3 or 4 punts for touchdowns. And so special teams is going to be a big part of it. We're going to have to make sure, you know, that we win that phase of the game because they have done a good job all year long winning that phase, and it's won them a lot of football games. Yeah. And so we're going to have to really do a good job of eliminating their big plays, not only, you know, on the offense side of the football, but also in special teams.
Does that change your strategy as far as kicking off, especially if you're kicking into a little bit of a wind and you're not sure you can get it into the end zone?
Sure. I mean, we definitely got to make sure that we place the football in places that they can't be successful. And that doesn't obviously, I mean, a lot of that is not only our kicker, but also our coverage team. And so we're going to have to make sure that we cover and do a good job getting down the field, staying in our coverage lanes, getting off of blocks, and keep them, you know, in check. And that there's a lot of what you can do that by where you kick the ball, how you kick the ball, and then also just how your coverage team. And so it's going to be a big night for us on all 3 phases of the game.
No doubt about it. But, you know, when there's 16 teams left, Coach, out of, I think, 96 in Class 4A Division I, that means you're in the top 12%, if I think I did math right there. That's not bad.
I'm not very good at math, but I'm just gonna trust you and say that we're in the top 12%. Yeah, I mean, very feel very blessed to be where we're at right now. You know, just got through talking to our kids after practice. We're not satisfied either. You know, we're not just happy to be here. We're very blessed and very thankful that we're here, but we still have a hungry football team. We have a football team that wants more than just the third round, and so, you know, that's our focus right now. We've attacked since we started after district play and we started in the playoffs. Our focus has been to win yourself 3 more opportunities to practice, and that's we just have 1 of them right now. So we have 2 more really before this game. And we've got to make sure that we focus on a way Friday night to put ourselves in a chance to get us 3 more. I mean, that's our focus every single game.
I know that we've talked about this off the air, but I started thinking about this a little bit more this past weekend. We've talked about changing the kids' internal clock and knowing that football season doesn't last just 10 weeks or 10 games or 11 weeks or whatever it is. that, football season lasts how long you make it last.
Yep.
And this is kind of the first group. We've won the district championship 5 straight seasons, but we've made the playoffs 7 years in a row, and so now they're kind of understanding, what this is like, and what it's like being able to get into the playoffs and make these deep runs. And this group now, since they've been in junior high, they've understood Dumas's thing is to make the playoffs. Sure. And now these last few kids have understood. Now it's our job to advance deep into the playoffs, not just make the playoffs, but advance deep. And so we're kind of seeing that turnover change.
We are, and I hope we continue to see it, and I hope we've got to find a way to extend that even further. Sure. We went to the 4th round 2 years ago, third round, and so we've got to, I think that's huge. I think that's a very, very important aspect of this, is that we do not settle for just where we're at. Mm-hmm. Because as we rewired those internal clocks to think the way that we're thinking now, mm-hmm. it took us a while because we were okay with just a district championship and falling in the first round.
Yeah.
And that became our norm, and that's what our kids were used to. Well, we had to rewire that and get through it, and we got through it with Hershey 2 years ago. And so now we've got to, I think now our focus is we need to rewire that even more. I mean, we need to find a way to win these 3rd and 4th round playoff games, and I think we've got the team to do it. I really believe it. Now we've got to do it one game at a time. We've got to find out how to make Tuesday the best Tuesday that we can, yes. Because that's how you get there. I mean, Tuesday's got to be the best Tuesday, and Wednesday's got to be the best Wednesday. And if you do that, your Friday will be the best Friday. And so we've got to excited about our opportunity. Excited, and our kids are too. Our kids are really, really excited to be where they're at, and just as our staff has seen the growth, our kids have seen it too, and it feels good. I mean, they feel really good about themselves and what they've accomplished. But we need more. We want more. We're not going to settle for just what we've done.
Daryl and I talked about just having this tickle on the inside about knowing how special things are, and kind of even seeing how teams have done it, like Aledo and Canadian.
Sure.
Those teams that they're just perennially there.
Sure.
Every year. They've got some kind of special something that they figured out.
Sure.
And it seems like Dumas is just like right on the edge of figuring things out, where it's going to get not just fun and special, but like really, really fun and really, really special.
It is, and in order to get that, I mean, kids have to experience it. You can't ever get there without a belief or some past experiences, and so these kids are starting to get that, and we just got to find a way to continue it and push it on further.
Well, it's fun.
Well, Coach, you've got 8 wins and 2 losses in the last 12 years in Plainview, so we could call that Dumas Demon South. So that's a pretty good winning percentage in another stadium.
I like it. I want to make the percentage even better come Friday night. So.
Amen. Me too. So
can't wait.
Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank y'all for having me.
Congratulations. I mean, we talked about this on the air. Three consecutive seasons of winning 2 playoff games. It's never been, at least 2 off lanes, has never been done here in Dumas. And so this team is making history of being one of the teams that's going to do that, and ready to maybe kind of take that next step too.
Excited about that, and that's what we need to do. We need to take that next step. So part of it, I know Hershey's in the way of doing that, and so we've got to make sure we take care of business on Friday night.
That's right. Can't wait.
Me
All
either.
Right.
And I'm so optimistic, Raymond. We'll be back here next Monday.
Yeah, that's right.
Number 14 next week.
That's right.
Let's book it.
Let's do it. So give us a little bit of information about the game Friday, just so people know. Buy their tickets yet?
You can buy tickets at the gate. There's nothing done online. They're at the gate. They are accepting district passes, also accepting Texas High School Coaches Association passes. Those are 2 passes you can buy at the gate. It is Friday at 3:00 in Plainview. We are the home team, and so expecting you to show up and be rowdy and show up in groves.
Yeah, I could see a big crowd there Friday. So we are maybe going to stream it. I don't know. We applied, so we'll
Sure.
see what happens with that process, and if we get it, we'll stream it. But it's close enough and big enough. I feel like we're just going to have a lot of Dumas people there.
We can find anybody working this week, right?
Yeah.
I hope they do. But
I think the town's going to shut down Friday. Might as well just take off and
Sure.
go to Plainview.
another thing for you, Raymond, the job that y'all, I don't know how many people I've talked about the last stream of if they just turned it over to Blue Cloud TV, they'd do a great job. I know that everybody really appreciates and the job that you do of covering our kids and just the production that you put forth, that the radio and you both put together, because our fans like it, and we're a little spoiled because we didn't get that performance last week, and I know you were missed big time. So appreciate all that you do for our kids and our community.
Yeah, well, you're welcome. It's fun, and I enjoy working with these guys, and I think bringing that partnership together to bring it all is what really makes it special.
Agree.
We each have our strengths, we each have our abilities, and being able to pull them all together, just we can do some stuff that other people can't do.
Yes, sir.
That's right.
All right. Anything else? All
Go
right.
Demons.
Let's go.
Go Demons.
Let's go.
We'll
Yes,
see
sir.
you
Going.
next Monday, tentatively at 287. If we
Yeah.
can't get it there, we'll
Be back
do
on
it
normal
here.
schedule next
We
week.
will be.
Right.
Unless they give us
Monday
another
night.
week off.
We know.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and we'll see you next week.
This is the 287 Coaches Show, brought to you live from 287 Roadhouse in Dumas, Texas. This episode of the 287 Coaches Show is brought to you by these local sponsors.